So virtual Radnor Day Camp is just that. It's a live, interactive, virtual by Zoom day camp experience for those campers that did not want to have the in-person experience to risk exposure of COVID-19. Obviously, the virtual day camp really wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for the pandemic, regretfully, of course, but it offers an opportunity for the campers to be able to engage in a variety of different activities throughout the time frame.
So this year was the first year we did virtual Radnor Day Camp. It was something that we were excited to try. There were a number of kids that were interested in this option. So we worked with our director of Radnor Day Camp, she's been our director for a number of years, Kirby Brown, and she stepped up to be the leader of this program along with Greg McNicholas. He is also the staff member that is helping out this year. And with this program, they came together and came up with a bunch of different activities for the kids for 4 weeks, Monday through Thursday. They've come in from 1:30 to 3. There are different games, there's different educational components, there are a lot of videos and theming that the kids would learn something through a video and then they'd do an activity. So for example, the one day they were learning about pyramids and they watched a video about the pyramids and then they did an activity with like stacking cups and how that kind of related. Another awesome piece that's worked out this year is we've had a number of visitors that have come virtually onto the program. So we've had places like Color Me Mine or Edible Arrangements. They also came and they did a video piece for the kids, which was great. We've also had some of our community groups, so the Radnor Fire Company, the Radnor Police Department. That was a great one. They had the canines on the camera and the kids always loved the dogs. So different special activities like that could keep the kids engaged and interested for the 4 weeks, but also kept them active and kept that educational piece. That was something we really wanted to strive for.
Kirby did a great job, and I helped too with planning different activities. We actually sent to all the campers little camp kits that were filled with different supplies. I have mine right here. I'll show it. Looks like this. Mine's a little messy right now. So we kind of tried to keep a pretty decent mix of different arts and crafts and then also games that we could play with them through the computer. And that was kind of like one of the things we were a little bit worried about too in the beginning, was trying to keep them relatively active even though we're all far apart and everything. So scavenger hunt was one that they loved, where, you know, we'd tell them to go find a certain object in their house, they'd run around and go and then bring it back. So then aside from like crafts and then those kinds of games, we also did virtual field trips and had special visitors. And those were pretty cool too, especially because for returning campers, field trips were such a big part of camp for them. You know, it was a little different, but had the same effect.
So for each day, your camper would come in, they'd greet them, they start with an activity with all of them together. It's either like a special guest or a virtual field trip, and then partway through the program, they would then split into those breakout groups. And each staff wasn't necessarily assigned to a specific age group. One day they might be with Mr. Gregg, another day they might be with Ms. Kirby, but they kind of tackled those programs together so that the kids were able to, you know, experience it all no matter who they were with.
So, I mean, this is an alien. I've never seen an alien walking around Radnor. So you have the free range to kind of design it however you want. This is another one that I drew. So the first thing you need to do is right with that crease in the middle is draw the head. It could be a circle, a square, a triangle, whatever shape head you would like your alien to have.
The virtual guidelines development that we had put together was really essential to even having the platform of the virtual day camp before we could even, go into, production and execution of the program. So that was something that was very important, but actually had started a while back when we were doing much of our virtual programming. And they really included a lot of different policies, things, for example, of making sure that we had a private encrypted link from Zoom that only allowed the participants to take part in. So that way we could screen out people who, maybe jump in that aren't there for the right purposes. So that was something that was really important to us, is making sure that those aren't public links and public pieces of information that go out. And behind that, having a set of guidelines that were really geared towards the safety. An example of that is once someone jumps into the Zoom waiting room, which is something that we have enabled 100%. So somebody can't actually go into the live virtual Zoom room without being pushed to the waiting room first. So we actually have an opportunity to take the time to screen them before we actually admit them in. So that allows us to pair back who the participant is with our registration.
It was actually definitely easier to keep them quiet when you needed them quiet, because you could just kind of mute them, and that that made it a little bit easier. But honestly, the biggest thing was keeping the attention and keeping all the campers focused, which I think we did a pretty good job of. Every once in a while, you'd have to ask campers to turn their cameras back on and everything, but kind of the way we saw it was, as long as we could see them and we could tell that they're engaged and participating, then that was kind of the most difficult part. But once you get there, then it's pretty easy afterwards.
Right. I have to agree. As a teacher, proximity is one of the strongest pieces of classroom management, and not being able to go over close to someone to redirect their attention or to support them. That was probably the hardest part. But I feel like as the summer went on, the campers kind of adjusted to this new style of camp, and we were pretty successful.
So from a standpoint of our staff members too, one of the things we wanted to make sure that they were keen on knowing is exactly who their participants are, where they live, their addresses, having multiple levels too of emergency contacts, just in case if something was to happen during the Zoom experience, there would be an opportunity to be able to mitigate, make a phone call if needed to that emergency contact. There also is a protocol that if there was some type of, an unwelcomed person that entered the Zoom room, there's a code word that was utilized so that everyone knew to immediately leave the Zoom room. And also for our coordinators, who in this case of virtual Radnor Day Camp was our director Kirby, and her co-director Greg, was to be able to dismiss those people from the room so that they could leave quickly, just so there is no chance of viewing any type of, unwelcome circumstance or situation.
Our attendance stayed consistent through the whole summer. We didn't have campers drop off or, withdraw for any reason. So that was a great feeling. And from Township, they've been very supportive. They, helped us plan and prepare and get the supplies we needed out to the campers. And they were just very pleased that we were able to pull this together and offer it to the community. Not many places are offering virtual options. I think a lot of people were tainted from the end of the school year, where teachers had to quickly pull things together and actually teach or do schoolwork. Whereas we were able to provide fun and engaging activities to the campers. So I think overall, everyone is really pleased with the summer.
The virtual camp experience so far has been really positive. I feel like parents have been very satisfied because it's given their children an opportunity to do something that's not in person, but it's still structured and organized and educational and fulfilling. So it's given the children an opportunity to have that alternative to the in-person day camp experience. And we've heard a lot of really positive feedback. I think some parents would like it to keep on going, but it is something where, we are going to be winding it down. Obviously, the kids are going to be getting started on school soon. So, there is such a thing as too much, digital time. But overall, it's been a really positive experience for everyone. It's something that, taking a challenging situation this summer that we've been faced with in the face of the pandemic, and being able to really, make a positive out of it and give an experience that has been a good one for the kids to be able to have something they can feel good about and look forward to each day.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.